For our first video of the 2024 season, we thought we'd like to do a comparison of all the public boat launches on Lake Minnetonka. Though many marinas offer a boat launch, we won't be including them in this comparison. Just the ones that are free to the public. First on the list, the Grays Bay public access is also the busiest. Since 2001, it has been located on the former site of Grays Bay Marina. Located at the corner of Bushaway Road and Grays Bay Boulevard, it is managed jointly by the City of Minnetonka and the Minnesota Department of Natural Resources. Its operating season is from about April 1st through October 31st. Of course, this varies depending on ice-out dates and weather. Amenities include 3 separate launch lanes and 4 service docks. The parking lot has room for 112 trailers as well as 21 car-only spaces, though 14 of those are reserved for boat slip owners. The Gas Island opens in mid-May, from 1:30 to 6 o'clock during the week and opens at 10:30 a.m. on weekends. Advantages are that it is the closest public access to the metro area and the 112 parking spaces. The disadvantage is that it's usually very crowded, however I would say it is built to handle the crowds. Moving one bay west, we head for the Wayzata Bay boat launch located at 1500 Eastman Lane in Wayzata. From the lake you can find it by passing between these red and green channel buoys. I had no idea this was here until I started researching for this video. This boat ramp, managed by the Minnesota DNR, is on a narrow strip of land surrounded by the Wayzata Yacht Club. There is a small dock, but no other amenities. There is a sign posted by the yacht club telling you all the things you cannot do. There is parking for about 6 trailers 50 yards to the east, but if you try to park anywhere else you'll no doubt get towed. If there is any advantage to using this ramp, it is that hardly anyone ever does. The big disadvantage, of course, is the parking. For our third public access, we venture across the lower lake to Carson's Bay. Located on the south shore of the bay, it is situated along the east end of the bridge where Minnetonka Boulevard crosses the bay. It is managed solely by the City of Deep Haven. Just down the hill from Hazen J. Burton's mansion Chimo and across the road from the park that bears his name, it has 2 launch lanes and 1 service dock. The turnaround is a bit tight, so swing as wide as you can. On the website, the DNR says that there are 17 vehicle/trailer parking spaces, but what they fail to mention is that it is parking by permit from May 1st through September. The permit costs $140 for non-Deep Haven residents and is good for all of their parks and beaches. Advantages are that Carson's Bay is quiet waters and relatively small, so there isn't going to be much chop regardless of wind strength or direction. The biggest disadvantage, of course, is the $140 price tag for parking, but it still might be worth it if you do a lot of boating on the lake on busy weekends. We now take our boat ramp comparison to the upper lake. Just to the west of Wayzata Marine on the south shore of Maxwell Bay, we find the Maxwell Bay public water access. This site on the corner of North Shore Drive and Tonkawa was once a Union 76 gas station. It was built by the city of Orono and the Minnesota DNR to alleviate some of the traffic from the North Arm ramp. I'm not sure why this dock is placed in the middle of the ramp like this. In previous years it was over on the right. You might recall our video last year where the BT-2 was launched from this ramp. This ramp offers 3 launch lanes and 1 service dock. It has over 70 trailer parking spots as well as 15 car-only spaces. Its close proximity to the North Arm ramp makes it a convenient option. If one won't work out for you, the other one might. Now let's move west to North Arm. The North Arm public water access is located at the south end of the bay just to the west of the Hendrickson Channel. By land you'll find it on North Shore Drive, or County Road 51 just east of where it joins County Road 19. It has 2 ramps and can accommodate parking for 51 trailers as well as 10 spaces for cars only. Boaters usually use these 30 parking spaces along this grassy knoll by backing the trailers up on the grass while leaving their vehicles on the asphalt. There isn't anyone here doing this today, but this practice is quite common. The Minnesota DNR's website lists 2 service docks, but what they're actually referring to is these retaining walls. As you can see by the location of the Bay Tripper 2, the water is definitely deep enough to tie up your boat along these walls. Though it has 20 fewer parking spots than Maxwell Bay, it seems to usually be the busier ramp. It certainly has more commercial traffic, as you can see. Because they lived across the road, during the 1980s and 90s, Chuck's parents used this ramp every year to launch their pontoon houseboat. By the way, don't try to use that road for parking. It is private and I guarantee you will get towed. The advantages to this ramp is its proximity to Maxwell Bay and that it faces north. So if there is too much chop on the south-facing Spring Park boat launch, this one will be calm. The disadvantage is that there isn't any overflow parking anywhere nearby. If the ramp is full, you'll have nowhere else to park. On our way to Spring Park, let's take a slight detour to Harrison's Bay and the Centerview site.
But I love that he's been through it all.
Centerview Beach is on a peninsula jetting out from the south shore of Harrison's Bay. It gets its name from Centerview Lane and Mound, which terminates on this peninsula. It is used for swimming and fishing more than as a boat launch. But off-season boat launching is allowed, so it was worth a mention in this video. There isn't much parking and you cannot launch here after June 1st, so, in our opinion, it's not a good option. But it might be something to consider early or late in the year. Now let's move the show to Spring Park. The Spring Park boat ramp is situated along the north shore of Spring Park Bay in Spring Park. By land, it is located at the corner of Shoreline Drive, or County Road 15, and Sunset Drive. It is managed by Hennepin County and sits on the same site as the Hennepin County Water Patrol. Amenities include a ramp that will access 3 boats at a time and 2 service docks. The entrance is located in front of the sheriff's facility. It has parking for 7 vehicles with trailers and 2 without. There is an off-site parking area that we'll show you in a minute. The ramp faces south, so if North Arm and Maxwell Bay are choppy, it will be calm here. The exit is on the east end of the site, but because of a center island, it is right turn only. To access the off-site parking, travel east for 1 block on Shoreline Drive and then turn left. This is a Hennepin County Public Works facility that allows overflow boat trailer parking. They offer 36 trailer parking spaces and 4 more for just cars. The facility closes at 2 a.m. You might remember that the luxury cruiser C-Note spent a much publicized month here a couple of winters ago. We feel that Spring Park is a first-class boat launch, with parking being the only real problem. This seems to be a reoccurring theme. Now let's head down to Phelps Bay. On the western end of Phelps Bay, just to the east of the bridge that crosses Zimmerman Pass to Enchanted Island, is a small boat ramp managed by the city of Minnetonka. To get there by land, just follow Tuxedo Boulevard south from Al and Alma's. There's no dock, and the ramp will only fit 1 boat at a time. There's only room for a couple of trailers, and parking throughout the neighborhood is pretty restricted as well. Also, there's no parking allowed between 10 p.m. and 6 a.m. It's never very busy, so if you're just going to drop your boat and go, it might work. Otherwise, we wouldn't recommend this site. We now shoot across the West Upper Lake to find the Lake Minnetonka Regional Park. The ramp here can handle 2 boats at a time, and there are 3 service docks as well as a fishing dock. The park is located in Minnetonka on County Road 44, just north of State Highway 7. It is managed by the Three Rivers Park District and is open from 6 a.m. till 10 p.m. Up the hill from the boat launch is a pay lot for trailer parking. It can handle 55 vehicles with trailers. The cost is $8 a day. You can pay online by scanning the QR code here, or by using one of these envelopes to pay by cash or check. Don't forget to tear off the back of the envelope and leave it on your dashboard. The trail down to the boat launch takes you through a wooded area. I wonder if anyone has ever tried to fly a drone down a wooded path before. We were just too lazy to switch cameras. We filmed this on the 1st of May, and the leaves were just starting to bud. I suspect that this trail gets pretty dark by midsummer. I have to admit, I was really glad this bench was here on my trip back up the hill. The advantages to this location are the 55 parking spaces. The $8 fee might seem pretty reasonable on a busy weekend. The one disadvantage is the 10 o'clock closing. You're not going to be able to launch here and see the fireworks on the 4th. Now let's head up to Cook's Bay. We now arrive at Surfside Park on Cook's Bay and Mound. The park is named after the Surfside Supper Club, which operated here until May 1984. When it was torn down and replaced with a condominium just to the east of the boat ramp. The park is located on the corner of Commerce and Bartlett Boulevard and is operated by the City of Mound. The ramp can handle one boat at a time and there is one service dock. There are 7 parking spots for boat trailers. However, trailer parking is not allowed on holidays and weekends, giving priority to other park users. However, there is plenty of parking on Commerce and Bartlett Boulevard. It's just a matter of how far you're willing to walk. The ramp faces south, so, like Spring Park, it is an excellent alternative to North Arm and Maxwell Bay when there is a strong north wind blowing. We launched the BT2 here this year and we think it's a good option. Here we arrive at the very northwest corner of Halsted Bay. This is about as far west as you can get on Lake Minnetonka. This little boat ramp is located in Minnetonka on Halsted Drive, a few blocks south of County Road 110. It features one access lane and a small dock. Trailer parking is allowed on Halsted Drive for a couple of blocks starting at this sign on going west. This ramp never seems to get too busy, so we feel it might be a good option. Now it is time to talk about fire lanes. Long ago, when there was no city water and everyone had wells, communities around the lake would plot a narrow strip of land every couple of blocks, just wide enough for a fire truck to back into. They would toss a hose in the lake and pump water to fight fires. When the fire hydrant came along, these fire lanes became obsolete. They were too small to build on, so some cities came up with creative ways to use them. They became parks, or lake access for snowmobiles and foot traffic during the winter. Some are so well groomed by their neighbors that you can hardly even tell they are there. And a couple have evolved into neighborhood boat launches. This one, located on West Arm Mound on the Three Points Peninsula, gets a lot of use from the people in the neighborhood. It is situated on Shorewood Lane just off of 3 Points Boulevard. Its asphalt surface goes right down to the water. But probably the busiest fire lane boat launch is in Tonka Bay, just to the west of the Caribbean. The city of Tonka Bay has ordered that no vessel over 10,000 pounds or 27 feet can be launched here. Of course, none of these fire lane launches have any parking, so we wouldn't recommend their use to anyone who doesn't live in the neighborhood. We hope this video has been helpful in finding the right boat launch for you.
Hey! You made it to the end of the video. Hit like and subscribe for more great videos about Lake Minnetonka.